What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It's your girl, it's your big sis, L Vintage. You already know what I'm here to do. It's one of the things that I love. I love talking to all of y'all, so that's why I'm here doing what I do. And we always got some great content and some information to flood your ears and your hearts. Tonight we finna have a heart-to-heart. No guests, just me and you. And got some special information for y'all, you dig? So we gonna keep rolling through. Let's get this business out the way. First, we like to have you go on over to IG and Facebook and click like, follow, share 609 StageLeft. That's on Instagram, and StageLeft on Facebook, and Top Class Radio. Because guess what? Top Class Radio, you can take them anywhere you want to be. Like Visa, Black Card, Platinum. You know what I mean? American Express. Just going down the Yellow Brick Road, and shout out Top Class on your way down there. So big ups to all my fam, to the audience, to everybody that's listening, to all my people out there that's consistently supporting. Shout out to my heart, my love, all my crew. Y'all already know what we came to do. Listen, I want to shout out my boys. Today, 4 of my kids, my guys from the football team, that's that Greyhounds Glam Squad, committed to their schools today. So shout out Spoon, shout out Shep, shout out Carter, and shout out to Jalen Ford. Yo, word is born. These guys are going to do some big things, and I'm very proud of them. Keep your head up. Anything you need once you graduate and all of that good stuff, you know, community's behind you. Ford going down there with my baby boy. Shout out to JCSU. Them Golden Bulls, man. Listen, something special going down in Charlotte. Y'all better check out them HBCUs. So I'm very proud of that. Also, we want to make sure that you all are informed. So, with that being said, happy Black History Month. I know we Black History. We blackity black 365 24/7. That doesn't stop the celebration, though. And I want to give y'all some fun facts. Today, I'm actually shouting out Miss Marva Dolores Collins. Look her up, y'all. She's a historian. Born August 31st, 1936 to June 24th. Passed away June 24th, 2015. And she was an all-American educator. So tonight we're going to have a heart-to-heart about education in our schools, public and private sector. Collins is best known for creating the West Side Preparatory School. That's Chi-Town, y'all. A widely acclaimed private elementary school in the impoverished Garfield Park neighborhood of Chicago, Illinois, which opened in 1975. Yo, I'm telling y'all, you could do it. A lot of people be acting like they don't know. But listen, when it comes down to putting education in our communities and making sure there's great schooling and atmosphere for our kids to grow in, to learn, and to build relationships socially and networking. Those are important factors. Collins, let me see. Let's go back up. Collins is best known for saying all children can learn. She says, for 30 years we have done what other schools declare impossible, and which was trained more than 100,000 teachers. Wow. Marva Collins trained more than 100,000 teachers, principals, and administrators in the methodology developed and practiced at her West Side Preparatory School. I don't make excuses. I take responsibility. If children fail, it's about me, not them. I tell my students, if you think excellence is difficult, you don't want to try failure. Collins says the critical element is instilling self-worth and convincing children that they are born to succeed. Can we say that again? Convincing children that they were born to succeed. Values can be replicated. Excellence can be replicated, but it has to begin with the idea that everything is about me, not the other person, and about being proud of my work. Many parents are busy giving their children everything except a sense of self-esteem and self-worth. Marva Collins, y'all. Marva Dolores Collins. If you want to check her out, you can Google her. There's a lot of historical books out there that carry her content. I thought that was relevant to what I want to have a heart-to-heart with you all talking about tonight. And I do have some educators that are going to be sitting with me and talking about this topic, so we will be furthering it in the future. But I need to know your thoughts about this. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and it started out as a question and posed based off of what our kids are actually receiving, perceiving, and actually putting action in, right? So my question to you all is, in the public sector, why is it that we believe private education, not that this is public versus private, but why is it that we believe that a private education have higher educational values than in the public school? And I'm going to tell you my experience, and then, we all can have a dialogue about this. So my children, my boys all went to public schools, and my middle baby, we were actually going to send him to a private school, to a high school out in Hamilton. And the thing about it is that we'll put X and X amount of dollars and we will feed other places. And a lot of times these other schools may not look like us, but our kids go through more stress and duress in those atmospheres than being in a homestead where they know the atmosphere, where they've grown, and where they also accept and learn from the educational value, because a lot of their educators feel and look like them, right? So, hey, I had a conversation, and the conversation went like this. You believe that the value of our education in the public school is better than the private school. And I'm like, no, I don't believe that it's better, but I believe that it's equal. I believe the same amount of finances that you should put into your public schools and to help your children grow would be the same amount of finances that you spend thinking that your kids are getting a better education. The children are getting a better education elsewhere where they may be discriminated upon, where they may not have sufficient help for kids that have IEPs or disabilities or mental stresses, or even in an atmosphere that is conducive to the quality and standard of educational values that they need. So public schools usually have larger classes. Private schools sometimes have smaller classes. But my thing is if we can spend this amount of finances to privately put our kids in an atmosphere where we believe the education is better, the student body is better, the athletic mobility is better, then we can put those same amount of dollars in the communities by which they were raised. And I feel like something is wrong with that picture, because we gloat about the other schools where we paying sometimes $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a semester. And okay, big ballin', do what you got to do. And then we'll talk about the public schools and the communities by which we were raised or come from and say, well, nah, I don't think so, because my kids are behind the ball. But yet we don't come out to the school board meetings and we don't talk education with the people that really need to hear about what's falling or failing in our kids' lives. So, number one, we have to be advocates. We have to understand that no one's going to step to the plate if you have a closed mouth. If you don't speak up about the value and the standard of your child's education and push them to greatness, right? And that push them to greatness, right? Then our kids fall behind because A, they don't feel supported. B, sometimes they lack the understanding. And, in today's society, our student bodies can be hard on another student who has sometimes learning deficiencies. And so I feel like we're shunned in the public sector because, how they've been saying lately, they don't measure up and the kids are behind the ball. But where is the community and the parent advocating? Where is it? You have to advocate for these babies, because if you don't, then they'll fall behind. And I'll give you an example. Someone said to us, My son had 5.2 GPA when he graduated high school, and he was part of the top of his class, but he also graduated with an associate's degree. And someone said, oh, he's an exception to the rule. And I said, but why? And then someone else said, oh, well, every child can't learn. Why can't we normalize? Why don't we normalize excellence in education? I have an issue with that, because if you can say, wow, whoa, that's unheard of, then something is missing, because I know kids who have graduated with 5.0 and higher, and most people don't realize there's two sets of GPA. There's a weighted and an unweighted. And because lack of time, I'm going to let you guys go and find that out and figure that out, understanding what it is. So look it up, weighted GPA versus unweighted GPA. Most of the time, our kids feel like, and I hear this all day at my job, that no one supports them in education. They're trying, they don't understand a lot, and they need additional help. So, as of lately, the conversation between myself and some of my coworkers and the students have been, you have to figure out where your tutoring is. And if you don't have tutoring on campus, you have to ask your teacher, will they tutor you? And I get it. I understand. Our teachers are in duress. We're under the ball with teachers on campus. Some schools don't have enough instructors. Some schools are only substitutes, a lot of substitutes. But you still have to build that standard to a higher level and not accept anything coming in and out. If your child is not being educated to the standard that they believe they should be educated, you as a parent and as a community member have to come and advocate and step up for them, because it's unfair. Okay, it's unfair that our students get looked over in the public sector. And I've done my research on this, and a lot of our public schools are suffering because we deem public education below the standard and private education higher, when honestly they measure out to be the same. So our children, we're spending $40,000 plus, $20,000 plus to go to a private school, or a school, quote unquote, that's not in the public sector. But we're not realizing that you still have teachers that discriminate against our children. You still have teachers and instructors who don't understand disability versus disorder and versus behavior. Disability and disorder versus behavior. So we can decipher where our children need the help and where they lack the understanding. So a lot of times we tend to quiet down when we know our children should be pushed to a greater excellence, and that starts with us. I want to know what sciences they're taking. I want to know what math they're taking. I also want to know what English they're taking. Is it English lit? Is it just regular literature? Is it English for college prep? What type of English are we taking? And most of the time, our children won't bite down, because guess what? None of the support staff, and I'm saying support staff just like that, and I do mean support staff as in their families, mothers, fathers, anyone that can advocate for their educational content and well-being, have to step up to the plate and find out what it is they're taking. And granted, we have some students who sometimes, because they lack the understanding, they're like, I don't really care. I know where I should be, and I know what I shouldn't have, or I know I'm not good at this, and I know I'm not good at that. But why can't they be? And when I say, why can't they be, I mean, there's an opportunity for every student to succeed, and for every child to make it past the hump of, I can't do it because I just don't understand it. If your child has an IEP, your child needs a aid, and assistance, other assistance. Even if they have a 504 plan, they need other assistance. And that assistance, you can go directly to the school and ask for and request. especially when it comes to the child's study. So we have to understand what our role is within the walls of the school and on the outside of the walls of the school when it comes to our children's education. But we also have to be cognizant that whatever we ask and request for our child, that's what you keep pressing. That's what you keep acknowledging. That's what you keep requesting and asking for until it gets done. And if it doesn't get done, then you got to go over their heads. You have to go to the Board of Education. You have to go speak to the superintendent. You have to go speak to those who understand the role of a child's needs in education. And so why I'm asking these questions is because, again, this conversation really alarmed me. Like, you really believe in the education that we have here in this school? And I'm looking and I'm like, yes, I do. You have to buy into something. You have to believe that your children are going to come out on top, even if it means you sitting at the table and helping them every night, night after night with their homework, and you questioning where their grades are and what they're doing. See, my boys, I think a lot of times they felt like, okay, we're just in their business. But no, we made sure we didn't fall short on the ball, because nowadays, the more illiterate our children are, the more or the lack of understanding in reading, writing, and arithmetic that they have, the more the world thinks they can get over, or they push, or they give them a subtle job and say, okay, you can come here and sweep the floors. But if we're urging and pushing success, and the success story is education is a top demand in their success story, then why do we not normalize pushing that intelligence and making sure that we're on top of it? Normalize it. Normalize GPAs that are higher than a 3.0. Because those are the things, the numbers that will get your child into a school well worth their salt. And they can work into the school. They can figure out what kind of activities that they like in those campuses. And not only that, it also pushes the standard up. So our standard in our communities are right here. Not even level. They're lower. And that's because as a community and as parents, we're not stepping on the toes of expectancy for our children. Nah, we can't do that. We have to normalize these things so that our children understand, look, we're here and we know what it is that you need, and we're willing to put all of our time and efforts into every ounce of education that you need. I really believe in that. And I'm hoping that we're all listening. I sat at a table one time with two students, and one student only had their parent there. And we talked, and this is as a mentor, and we talked about the things that they needed as a student in order to be successful. My sincerest urge is that parents, when your student and your child comes home, ask them, what tools do they need to be successful? Where is it that they come up short at? Where are they falling short, and where do they need the help at? Because most of the time we don't ask these questions, and our students are left to figure out a lot of things by themselves. And this is no shade to our educators and our guidance counselors and our support staff that actually are in the trenches with our students. It's no shade, because we have great support staff, guidance counselors, educators who have been there for over 30 years, many of them. And I believe in that factor. And it's just to push you as a parent and as a community to know exactly what's going on while your child is in school. What are they learning? Are they bringing back something that they can use? Is it something that they can further their minds in? Is it something that they need more research in? And it's very imperative. It's important. And like I said, this conversation alarmed me, because I'm thinking, if we can spend that kind of money to go outside of our communities and send our kids elsewhere, then we can put that finance right into our communities and into our public schools and build everything that they need for a successful them. You understand what I'm saying? We are imploring the greatest success of our students. Black and brown students everywhere are suffering because someone might say they have a speech impediment, they're not listening, and this whatever. It's a whole list of things that can be said. But the number one factor is that are they being educated at a high level, and are we accepting that education, or are we saying, nah, it's a bunch of trouble there and we can't facilitate that trouble? It's trouble everywhere. It doesn't matter what school you go to. And 9 times out of 10, those schools that you're paying that kind of money for, they're just sweeping all of the dirt under the rug. Trust me, I'm in the know, so I know. And a lot of times we think that we're getting more peace, better opportunities, better space, better education. But really, our children, when they go to those other schools, are suffering and are being discriminated upon. And a lot of times they aren't being heard for the things that concern them, especially when it comes to them and the people that look like them, right? So we have to begin to push the agenda of bringing our kids home to our public and community schools for that reason. Number one, our student athletes sometimes feel like they're alone. So that's one of the reasons why when they see other places, they're like, I don't want to go over here, I want to go there. And by all means, the person that spoke to me asked me, if I really believe that, and I said absolutely. And I said we raised all of our boys in this district, and I'm a product of this district. And they say, yeah, I am too. But our kids are behind the ball. And while I don't negate that some students are behind the ball, my answer was, well, when are we going to finally normalize higher education in our public sector? Because, to be honest with you, as much pressing as we did with our students and our children, they came out on top. And the answer was, well, they're the exception to the rule. What rule? And why does it have to be an exception to a rule? Because I'm understanding that if we put into every child, every student that goes to our public sectors what they need and help them to succeed, they can be just as successful too. And by all means, a lot of kids nowadays, a lot of our students nowadays are glued to their devices. So how do we become creative, right? And make curriculums circumvent around those devices? Because honestly, once they step foot on college campus, that's what they're using. Because many times books and materials aren't available, which is another issue on that long list. Why are our books and our educational materials in the public sector so old and not new? And I do mean of current years and current learning. Why is it that when we dig into our history books, we have this many pages of black historians, but everything else is a wider view of everything else? And sometimes when we fail to push the agenda and make sure that our children are learning to their best possible extent, then guess what the public sector does? They fall behind the weight. And then we end up sending our kids to a private sector or to a school where we feel like, oh no, this is a great school, and I don't mind paying this money if I know my child is A, going to be safe, or B, going to be educated a lot better. Well, safety standards, to my knowledge, can happen anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Anything can happen. Anything can happen. And then really what it is that when we demote the educational standard, right, and we take on another mentality as far as whether it's safety or put other things involved and in tune in it, we forget that things happen all over the globe, all over the world, in some of the best places. Shootings, stabbings, bombings happen in places that we would have never thought of. So to that extent, we cannot use safety all the time. That's an excuse. We just have to understand that we got to be on our P's and Q's. Our eyes have to be open, and we have to be aware of what's going on in our children's school. We have to know who our teachers are. We have to know what their classes are about. We have to be in the know when their grades are coming in and those progress reports are coming in, and we have to dig into the things that they're thinking about. Mental illness runs crazy in our schools nowadays. And that's a lot of it is a tribute to kids who feel alone, kids who don't feel supported, kids who don't feel like someone's there to help them. So when it comes to the educational value of our public schools, I'm an advocate for public school system. I love it because I'm a product of the public school system. And no, I'm not saying don't send your child. If that's what you want, go ahead and do it. But what I'm saying is don't demote the facts and don't demote the value of a public education to those who are in those public schools. Because guess what? There's some private schools in some sectors that aren't offering dual college credit programs. But in our public school, we do. College programs, college preparatory, advanced college preparatory. And that's what it excites me the most when you see kids who graduate not just with a diploma, but also with an associate's degree and can go anywhere they decide or desire to. Those are the things that excite me. So when it comes to our public schools, I'm definitely an advocate for it. So if that's where you choose to send your children to the private, it's cool. Go do that. Do that. But don't demote us that send our children to the public sector. I'm here. I'm your big sis. Listen, I'm grateful for you all. But I just really wanted to invite you in on this conversation because it was laid upon my heart and it's heavy. So over the course of the next few weeks when we air, we will definitely be inviting some of our educators in and getting them to talk about, the public versus private sector and the value of public education. You know what I mean? Miss Marva Collins, it wasn't that she did not have public school access and didn't go to a public school. She wanted to build and open up a preparatory school. And those preparatory schools, while nowadays they deem them private and private access and charge you, Miss Collins actually opened it up to prepare kids for the next level in life, for college education, preparatory. We're preparing this generation for the next level in life, and that's their college education. So stick with us, you know what I mean, and keep continuing to listen out for these special topics because, listen, it's on the heart of a lot of people, and what we're doing now is we're doing our best to pour those into the community and make sure that you all are aware of your options and weighing your options and what's best for your student and the atmosphere that your student needs to be in or should be in. We as parents, we make executive decisions, and not all of them are the best for our children, but we put them in the best possible positions to be successful and to win. So that's listen, I'm not arguing with that. That's cool, fine and dandy. But I would love for our communities to stop demoting a public education access. Some of us have gotten great educational value from public education, and I'm one of them. And I'm grateful for it. And a lot of my instructors and teachers have since retired, but they poured into us. Night after night, morning after morning, they poured into us. And I'm grateful for all of our instructors that are out there pouring into our communities and our students and loving on them, because where they are once they walk out of our doors and from out of our thresholds, we want them to be their best self. We want them to be the best versions of who they are, successfully, educated, intelligent, empowered, and very, very powerful. Let's say that. We want them to be able to pour back once they get to where they want to go, pour back into the community. So we feed them a lot. We feed them. Shout out to everybody that's listening, everybody that's coming through. I have some important information for y'all. As of next week's, beginning next week, we will be airing from my home studio, my home access, from a vintage couch. Yeah, up with your big sis Lell Vintage. Shout out to my guy Jihad over here for Top Class Radio, who's seeking some other things, and he's going to go and be successful in those arenas. And guess what? I just want him to know that I love him. I'm grateful for all that he has done and all that he's poured into StageLeft and L Vintage, and we will not take that for granted. We will always be a support and wherever he's at, and we'll be linking up again, but we're going to take this venture to the home front. So you'll be seeing me, but I'll be on my home front. And also, Patterson Museum has invited your girl, your big sis, up to recite and to perform. I am a feature. February 26th will be up at the Patterson Museum. It's going to be dope. I'm excited. Shout out to Talena Lachelle Queen. Talena Lachelle Queen, the big sis up in Patterson, Poet Laureate of Patterson, who invited me up for Wordseed Inc. I'll be a feature on Wordseed Inc. February 22nd. That's at 6:30. It's going to be at the Patterson Museum. I'm excited. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. We're also looking forward to March for our Women's Month conference convention. Women's March is coming to Atlantic City. The first year was in honor of Fannie Lou Hamer. And this year we're honoring our Lieutenant Governor who just passed, Miss Sheila Oliver. It's going to be a dope situation. I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about it, honoring our Lieutenant Governor who just passed not too long ago. God rest her soul. We're here. And it's on. Hello? Yeah. Testing. Yeah, so we're going to be honoring our Lieutenant Governor who recently went home, Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver. This year's March is geared in honoring of her. Shout out to my big sis, Dr. Nicole P. Lyles Belton and Miss Stephanie Dixon, who are co-chairing this March this year for 2024. So y'all be on the lookout for the Atlantic City Women's March. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be dope. We got some other big things coming up. Shout out to Mr. Arthur Leah Teller. We're also putting on a 50th anniversary hip-hop Black History show. The 50th anniversary of hip-hop is coming to Peeville High School, and your girl is making a special appearance for her students. So I'm excited about that. And we're gonna go in. We're doing 2 shows for our students, so you'll be hearing about it. Trust me, because I got a special part of the show. I'm excited about that. Again, shout out to my boys who committed today: Shep, Carter, Ford, my big guy, and Spoon. I'm proud of y'all. Y'all keep doing what you got to do and keep pressing, because this ain't over. This just the beginning. Shout out to my big guy down at JCSU, Debo, Christopher Debo Wright. I love you, Bubba. We definitely gonna be down there soon. And just keep impressing the world, y'all. Keep making an impression. Keep doing what you got to do. Keep pushing these students for greatness and pushing them to their success, because I believe in the students, man. I believe the children are our future. And that not just because Whitney said it, but I really do. And not just because Sexual Chocolate said it. I believe the children are our future. So y'all got to keep pouring into them and making sure things are going the way they need them to go. for their better success. Not the way they want them to go, but need them. Okay, so let's be cognizant of that. And I love y'all. We're gonna be here. We're gonna be back next week. We got a surprise for y'all. We're gonna keep pushing and doing some big things. I'm excited about the direction. I'm excited about the direction for StageLeft and for El Vintage. Also, shout out to the AKA sorority is honoring your big sis. The last Sunday of the month is going to be on Zoom in NAACP. I'm a little tongue-tied. NAACP. The event usually is held at Mount Zion, but for the past couple years, it's been on Zoom. So I'm actually an honoree this year. That's dope. That's big. Listen, we going to keep pressing after that. But I also got some more coming up, some more announcements for you all. We'll be announcing them pieces by pieces. Next month, March, is the release of the Queen Narrative. So y'all keep a tuned ear and a fine-tuned ear and your eyes open for that, because your big sis is writing for the Queen Narrative. Heavy as a crown. It's going to be something special. Shout out to the Queen Narrative out in Springfield, Massachusetts. We got some big things going down, and we're appreciative of you all for the time and the effort that you pour into each and every one of the writers. And we humbly thank you for selecting us and for choosing us to come write for such a powerful work of art. A powerful work of art. Yo, I love y'all. Also, yo, shout out to my French Vanilla. She got a master's degree, y'all, and it came the other day. Got a master's degree in social work, and I'm proud of her. Couldn't be more proud of her. And we're going to keep pushing it to the limit, because we got a lot of hopes and aspirations and a lot of big things going down that you don't want to miss. So, with that being said, I was in, I was out, I came, I saw, I conquered. This is StageLeft, y'all, with your big sis, L-E-L, El Vintage. And you know what it is, Top Class Radio. Go on, download it for your listening pleasures. We here, we came, we saw, we conquered, we out, y'all. Peace.